Hello everybody and welcome to our webinar. Everyone's coming in slowly. Good evening, good evening. We'll just give it a couple of minutes here to let everybody come in. You're welcome to have your cameras on. You're welcome to have them off. It's entirely up to you guys. You're welcome to have them on partially or not at all. No worries. We'll wait a couple of minutes for people to filter in and then we'll get going. Wonderful. Hello, welcome to everybody who's just coming in now. Hope you've had a good day, a good evening, wherever you are. I'm sure it's pretty cold. It's getting cold here in the UK. I'm sure it's cold over in Ireland too. For everyone coming in, my name is Jacob and I'm the academic director here at the TEFL Institute. So a very warm welcome to you this evening. A couple of minutes here. You guys are welcome to have your cameras on, your cameras off. We are recording, but this is for our purposes. So no need to worry. Perfect. Hello from Jamaica. Are you trying to make us jealous, Malik? How's Jamaica today? Is it nice? Oh dear. Jamaica, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Nice and sunny, yes, I'm sure it was. I had a message from my friends in Thailand today telling me it was too hot. It was 5 degrees here this morning, so I wasn't very happy. How is everybody? Is it hot? Is it cold? Have you had good days, bad days, stressful days, successful days? Good. Right, it looks like everyone who's coming for now is here. So let's begin. I will repeat. My name is Jacob and I'm the academic director here at the TEFL Institute. Big welcome to everybody here this evening. I hope you can all hear me fine. I hope you can see me fine. I hope the connection's good. This webinar this evening is to let you guys know all about our new level 5 course that we released recently in the last week or so. Obviously, we've been running level 5 courses for some time now, but we've completely changed, upgraded, improved the course, and that's what I want to tell you all about today. So what we're going to do is I'll explain to you what's changed, what it's all about. Maybe some of you guys know TEFL, maybe you're quite new to it, maybe you're really familiar with what a level 5 is, maybe you're not. So let me give you a little bit of a background. Obviously, teaching English as a foreign language, there are different types of qualifications you can do. Here in the UK, where we're accredited, there are different levels. So, for example, a normal 120-hour TEFL is about a level 3, as a level 3, which is roughly equivalent to something like maybe school leaving qualification or maybe one above. We call it here in the UK, we call it college, that kind of further education. This is a level 5. So we're talking about a level 5. This is the equivalent of a foundational degree, that first year or two at university, with a bachelor's degree being a level 7 in the UK and a master's, bachelor's being a 6 and a master's being a 7. So a level 5 TEFL qualification is pretty high. It's about university level, foundational university level. So having the level 5 TEFL qualification is quite an achievement, and it's exactly gives you an advantage in the jobs market when you're starting out, or even if you're an experienced teacher who's decided to get qualified for the first time or upgrade your 120. So that's what we're talking about here, the level 5 qualification in teaching English as a foreign language. Now, maybe you know, maybe you don't know. I can see a couple of familiar names there. Hi, Anam. Maybe you know what the online TEFL courses involve. They usually involve self-study, lots of reading, lots of watching some videos, answering some questions, writing lesson plans, and we do all of that. So our current course covers everything. Our new course is improved in every way. We've been running the current level 5 course for a number of years, and we've spent about the last at least 12 months working in collaboration with a research company called Learnovate, who work alongside Trinity College Dublin. And these institutions, their job is to go into educational companies such as us, have a look at our qualifications, our structures, how we deliver everything to you guys. They do loads and loads of research. We did loads and loads of research with them, and we came out with a solution of what do our learners like? What do they want improved? How can we do that? And so we've spent the last few months developing this brand new course for you based on all of their recommendations, feedback, the feedback from you guys. We interviewed loads of our learners. We sent surveys out. We spoke to people, Learnovate spoke to people, and everybody told us exactly what they like and what they want to keep and how they want to improve. So we've spent a long time doing this research to bring this brand new level 5 course to give you the best opportunity to sit down, do an online qualification, self-study in your own time and become a confident, not just qualified, but confident and knowledgeable TEFL teacher. That was the point. There's a good question I'm going to take at this point from the chat that says, is it a level 5 in Ireland as well? I believe a British level 5 qualification is approximately equivalent to a level 7 qualification in Ireland. If any of you academic geniuses out there can corroborate that for me, I'm pretty sure when I did my research that our level 5, and I say our because obviously this is the TEFL Institute of Ireland, but it's accredited by Highfield Qualifications, which is a UK company, and it's with Ofqual, regulated by Ofqual, which is the British government. So we go by the British rules, but I believe it's a level 7 equivalent in Ireland, not a level 5 in Ireland. Okay, so we've had a new level 5 course. It's new and improved. I think it's time to show you guys a little bit about what it looks like and why it's improved. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I hope that you'll be able to see it nice and clearly. Okay, can everybody see this okay? If you can't see it or if there's any problems, let me know in the chat there and I'll do my best. So let me give you a brief overview. What is the course and what does it look like? Well, the course has 10 modules in total, 10 different modules. Starts off with learning to teach English grammar, English vocabulary, learners' needs and methodologies. Learners' needs, what do learners need in the classroom? What types of learners are available? You know, we have our visual learners, people that learn by hearing, auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, the people that like to do stuff. Various teaching methodologies, how to approach your lesson. And also, this course has a huge focus on looking at online learning, offline learning, what's the differences and what are the similarities. So that's a repeated feature throughout this course. Then we go on to receptive and productive skills, reading, writing, listening and speaking. Receptive, the ones that come to you, you're listening, you're reading, where somebody else has communicated and you're trying to understand it. Productive skills, where you produce something, you're speaking and you're writing skills, how to teach that in the classroom, both online and face-to-face. Pronunciation and phonology, not always everyone's favorite one, but it's extremely important to understand the features of phonology for your students. The principles of using teaching aids and materials. This covers course books. This covers, realia, teaching aids, things you'll use, again, in your physical classroom and things you'll use in your online classroom. What kind of props might you be using? What kind of visuals, flashcards? How will you use them? What's the difference between an interactive course book and a regular, paper course book? Principles of lesson planning and design, lesson planning and online classroom management. How do you manage your class? You learn all this stuff about grammar and reading and writing, and then day one you stand in your class and you're going, oh no, how am I supposed to organize this? How do we, work with these kids or work with these adults? What do I do first? Do I just ask questions? Do I just talk the whole time? Where do I put the seats? If it's online, do I just go down the list and talk to them? So all different strategies about how to deal with that. Then we go on to the principles of teaching adults and the principles of teaching young learners. Obviously, some ways they're similar, some ways they're not similar. For example, adults, their motivation, their reason for motivation is a big thing to understand for them. You know, are they there because they just love English? Are they there because they need it for their job? Are they, you know, a young adult and they want to get to university? What's their reason for studying? Is it intrinsic from them, extrinsic from someone else? And then young learners, you know, again, their motivation is important. How to motivate them in the classroom. Young learners, you know, I had one of my first teaching in Thailand years and years ago. I had one class of grade 1, and it's amazing how quickly they can go from completely organized to absolute madness. You look at the board, you look back, and everyone's running around. You need to change tasks quickly, make them interactive, not just writing, not just listening. So how to deal with that. And also about how do people learn? How do kids learn their first language? How do people learn their second language? What are the theories around that? And in these final modules, this is where we do all our lesson planning and delivery and, you know, self-appraisals about your lesson plan. So this is the structure of our new course. Some parts are similar to our old course and some parts have been developed and improved. Everything here is relevant to teaching, relevant to your work in a school online or in a physical school. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is geared towards online as well as face-to-face teaching, because in this day and age, especially, you know, it was already going online, a lot of this on TEFL teaching, but in this day and age with COVID and, you know, up and down travel restrictions from here, there and everywhere, online has absolutely exploded. So we try and give you as many tools and strategies as possible to deal with everything. I'm just going to take a question in the chat now. It says resources, how do we get access to them? So in terms of how it works in our course materials, Fedelemma, basically, the ones we show to you, you can have a peek inside, or you can have a little look, or you can preview the materials. With most course books, you can see like a chapter or part of a chapter. So anything we ask you to look at, you'll have access to that. As far as other materials, we give you a ton of materials in this course. Like we give you at least, I don't know, like 10 or 11 lesson plans, full lesson plans. You could actually take, I mean, you can't use them for your exam because you need a different lesson plan than the materials, but you could actually take those lesson plans and go teach a class with them. They're fully comprehensive. And anything we show you on the page, we give you as a download as well. We give you lesson plans, we give you grammar explanations, we give you pronunciation tables, all sorts of things. There's I've packed this course out with downloads and useful information, things like my favorite websites to go find materials and my favorite websites to go find pronunciation work or games, or, you know, here's a great worksheet, go use that. So we really do try and give you as much as possible from all of us that developed the course. All of our experience has gone into it. Okay, how does it work? So we have 10 modules, but we split the course into 3. So the first 3 modules are part 1 of the course. You would study all of those and then do an assessment. Then you have modules 4, 5, and 6. You study them and you do an assessment. And then modules 7 to 10. Why do we split it into 3? We split it into 3 because we want to give you feedback at each stage. So you're going to do one assessment covering 3 modules or 4 modules, and then we're going to mark it. We're going to give you feedback. We're going to go, that was great, that was fantastic, wow, what a good lesson plan. And we're going to hand back to you so you know you're on the right path, that you're answering correctly, and how everything works. Okay, let me show you the course. So as you can see here, we have various different modules, all split into different parts. I will answer your question shortly, okay, Anam? I'm just going to have show you guys this one first. You might notice at the top here, we've got this module 0. Now, module 0 is a little bit of a special module. I'm going to give you a sneak peek inside. There's a lovely video of me on the front there welcoming you guys to the course. What is module 0? Module 0 is our training module, okay? A lot of the time, it's difficult to start a self-study online course. You're thinking, I don't know this company, I don't know what they want from me, where do I begin? You know, what's the policy on this? How do I know where to find that information? So this module 0 guides you through all of our important steps, our processes. We give you study tips. We give you lots of documents to look at and download. So this module 0 is not, there is a little test at the end, but it's not like we're not going to mark you on it. It's an automatic test from the computer, so it will show you. You'll make sure you're on the right lines, but it's not anything to worry about. It's just multiple choice. We give you study tips. We say where to find all the materials, how to manage your time, how to look at it. You know, we kind of write down what's our strategies for answering the question. Should I read everything first? Should I not read everything first? We show you our learning objectives. Every course has learning objectives, which means in every module, what are we going to do? To pass this module, what do I need to do? So you can see here, these are all the learning outcomes. They explain to you everything you need to do to get through that part of the course. And throughout the course, if you take a note of these numbers, module 1, 1.1, you'll see them in the lessons and you'll see them in the assessment questions. So when you do an assessment question, I'll show you in a minute, you'll be able to go, that's module 1, section 1.5. So you can go back and study that bit a little bit more if you're unsure. So we signpost everything really, really clearly. We show you guys all about the assessment, how it works. So, okay, I purchase the course, then I study module 0, then I do a little quiz, then I study modules 1 to 3 and do a quiz, then I have to wait for feedback. So this tells you exactly how the process works, a little bit of an FAQ on what to expect and how do I attack it, when am I going to be marked, when can I not move forward, when can I move forward, and so on and so forth. We describe to you guys what kind of support is available, and I'll go over this a little bit later on. How plagiarism and referencing works, certificates. We've got a lot of downloads here for terms and conditions. We have things like lesson planning tips, original ideas tips, lots and lots of useful information. So this module 0 is something you can kind of refer back to throughout your course as well, but it's there to give everyone an overview of what the course is about and how it works. Hopefully to give you a bit of confidence and lots of information. So the course itself, one of the main ways that this course is improved and it's wonderful and it's extremely user-friendly is we package the course into these lessons. So they're not just pages and pages to read. So this comes back to your question, Anna, about how many chapters in each module. So this is module 1. There's quite a lot in module 1 because it's all about grammar. So we've given you a really comprehensive overview of grammar. Don't worry about it. It's nothing to be stressed about. We've just given you a really nice overview of everything about grammar. But we put them into lessons. Why do we put them into lessons? It's so that you, firstly, you know, that's how much of a topic can be covered in a certain amount of time. If I'm doing the past simple or the future perfect, or I'm learning a reading skill, that can be one lesson. One lesson, hang on, let me just let these people in who are coming. One lesson, how long does it take? Well, it's up to you, but I would say anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour, hour and a half. A nice kind of bite-sized chunk that you can sit down, do a little bit of study, then take a break. What do the lessons involve? Well, it completely depends on the topic and, you know, is it grammar you're looking at? Is it writing? Is it lesson planning? But in a nutshell, there's information. There's lots of little interactive parts. You can expand stuff. You can bring it in. This works beautifully on your laptop, on your PC, desktop PC, on your tablet, on your phone, through the application. It can be big, small, etc. There are lots of little quizzes, things you can check just to sort of see if you're along the right lines, if you're getting information. None of this, the quizzes inside the materials, that's not marked. That's only there for you guys to have a go, to test your knowledge. You can do them as many times as you want. You can just skip them if you feel confident in the topic. So it's literally just there to help you out and to give you a good idea whether you're along the lines. And as you can see here, at the beginning of every lesson, we tell you exactly which learning objective that lesson covers. So if you're a bit like me and you like to track, well, I've done this and that's covered 25% of this part of the course, then you can just track it. You can say, I've done half the lessons in that module, therefore I've done all these learning objectives. They relate to questions 1 to 4. If you like that, then you've got everything there you need. So these are our materials and they're all just in these nice lessons. Again, like I said, there's a lot in module 1 because it's all about grammar. Most of the time, there's between 6 and 10 lessons in any single module, with most of it being 6 or 7 and then up to 10 in the larger one. So module 1 is by far the longest. But again, with this one, we've found a lot of people like having that really solid overview of grammar. It tends to be, especially for native teachers, people who are native, who are learning to teach. I'm native. We didn't really learn grammar like perhaps a second language learner of English did. So when I started teaching, I had to go back and learn what the perfect tenses involved, and you know, how does that work, and what are conditionals and how do they work. So while you're absolutely not expected as a new teacher to have a full understanding of grammar, we give you a lot of information to go and learn that if you want it. The questions that come up in the assessment about the grammar, they're quite minimal, so I wouldn't agonize over every single one, every single form, etc., etc. There are materials. That's how they work. How does the assessment work? What does it look like? Okay, well, this is assessment 1, covers modules 1 to 3. So as you can see, there's 26 questions in total, but that's for 3 modules. Okay, that's for 3. That's a third of the course right there. And what does it look like? Well, sometimes you have multiple choice questions. So this is one of our grammar questions. So you have to note what word class these words are, lots of drop downs. As you can see here, we tell you that this is module 1, learning objective 1.1, and you can study that in module 1, lessons 1 to 8 and 22. So if you weren't quite sure about what that was, you could just go back to the lessons and learn it and have another go. In addition, we have written questions. We have to write stuff. And again, it tells you exactly where you can find that information. So if you're not quite sure of this, you can go back and study it. We give you a little template so that you've kind of got a structure to begin answering your question. And most importantly, we provide you with amplification for every question. So those, you know, when you're sat there thinking, well, what does that mean? How do I phrase that? Well, we tell you here, we pretty much say, this is what we're looking for. Okay. So what's our advice on answering the question? So you should explain the 4 most common word classes: verbs, nouns, adverbs, and adjectives. You can choose others, but you cannot choose prepositions because that was the example we gave you here. Here is our example of how we suggest it could possibly look. Maybe you have a different idea, a better idea. The idea of amplification is to give you a little bit of friendly advice about how to go about that question. And that's it, really. We just continue on. Sometimes it's a multiple choice. Sometimes we require a written answer. Obviously, with grammar and vocabulary, there's a lot more multiple choice. Towards the end, you'll be writing lesson plans and reviewing them, and then you'll be doing your own writing, but there's full support all along the way. Now, this is quite a big assessment. Do you have to do it all at once? No, absolutely not. It saves all the time. So you can just do a little bit of work, click off, and it will be saved. You can come back to it. It's completely open book. So you could be looking at the course materials and looking at the exam at the same time. Now, one thing to be careful of is we have to make sure that nothing is copied. So we can't copy any materials, any of our course materials into your answers, but you can summarize them, you can paraphrase them, you can use them to guide you, to teach you. It's an open book assessment. You can submit as many times as you want. We'll only check the most recent one, and it will, like I said, it will save so you can develop it as you go along. Maybe you want to study module 1 and do a couple of questions from module 1 and then go back and study module 2 and then do those. It's completely up to you. It's flexible. Okay, so as it's a self-study course, we try and give you as much freedom as you could possibly have to either blast through it really, really fast, or to do it bit by bit, methodically, or somewhere in the middle. Up to you. Maybe you have loads of time on the weekend and no time during the week. So who knows? That's how our assessment works. As I said, if we go back to the main dashboard here, you have 3 modules to study for assessment 1, 3 modules to study for assessment 2, and 4 to study for the final assessment 3. At the end of each assessment, you will stop. One of our assessors will mark you, and when they're satisfied that your answers are good, then you'll be granted access to the next part of your course. Once you've passed part 3, that's it, you've passed. You're done, you're qualified. You'll be able to go out into the world and start teaching. We mark your work very, very fast as well. So with this course, Your work will be marked and returned within 3 working days, unless you purchase express marking, which will just be 1 working day. So that's, we can get it back to you really, really fast if that's what you want. Now, as I was saying earlier, we do our best to provide as much support as possible. Maybe the topic is difficult, the specific topic you're looking at, maybe you haven't studied anything for a very long time. Maybe this is the first time you've ever studied online. Who knows? Maybe you're just stuck on something that's a bit of a pain. So we do offer an awful lot of learner support. What type of support do we have? Well, firstly, the first and foremost, you can call, you can email, and you can live chat with the office. Anything administrative, something about your account or purchasing a new course or training dates or whatever that could be involved. The office is there within normal office times, 9 to 5 Irish time. You can contact them. Academic support, well, you will have a tutor throughout the entirety of your course, and you'll be able to email tutor support and ask for help. What does this mean? How do I explain that? I've never heard of this. Can you help me? Secondly, as soon as you've been marked, at least once, you'll have an assessor, and then you'll be able to email your assessor directly. Excuse me, Rachel, I don't understand your comment. Can you explain to me what you meant by this? And they will get back to you, and you'll have that direct link via email with them. We do weekly Q&A Zoom sessions, so exactly like we have now. Right now, obviously, we're in a webinar situation, but every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Irish time, we have a drop-in session for all learners. So all learners from all courses, but primarily it's the level 5 learners that tend to come. And you can ask your questions. I'm not sure about this. Can you explain about this? I've never heard of this phonological concept or question before. Can we talk about it? And you can just sit there, meet your tutor or meet one of our assessors and have a chat and go through anything you like. Even if you just want general advice on TEFL and teaching and what it involves, or if you just want to come and listen to other people and hear about their issues and how to solve them. A lot of people get really good advice that way. And lastly, we have our student community Discord, which is, if anyone's not familiar with Discord, it's a little bit like, it's like a big WhatsApp. It's a communication application. You can get it on your phone, on your desktop, on your tablet. And we have a community. So we have a large group for the TEFL Institute filled with little groups for different courses where you can get on, you can meet other learners. Our assessors are on there. I'm pretty much on there 24/7. It's the fast way to get support. So that's my top tip. If you ever need a hand, jump on Discord and message me. And it's a pretty quick way to get some help with your course. But it's there so you guys can share ideas, you can share topics. People talk about like, where's a good place to search for jobs, or, what's your advice on this, that, and the other? What do you think about this CV? Whatever that is, it's a student community, along with the assessors and some of the office staff, there for you guys to share ideas, to share links, to get help with your course, whatever that may be. So we really try our best to put as much help and support in place as possible, so that if you're stuck, when you have a question, we're here and we can help you. There was a couple of questions. Let me just go back to the chat here. Sorry, I skipped them. I just got in a little bit of a flow then. Someone said, probably jumping ahead, but I ultimately want to work more with younger children from 4 to 12. Will this course cover me for this, or will I need to go do an add-on course? Well, 2 answers to that, Fedilema. If I just give me 1 second, I can. Okay, no one's waiting to come in, so I thought someone was waiting. So there's 2 things. Firstly, we do have a 30-hour course, which is teaching young learners. That's a separate course. So of course, you're welcome to go and take that one, and that will give you lots of information. Obviously, though, on this course, module 10 is all about teaching young learners. And we do kind of also make that distinction between what we call very young learners, which is 4 to 8 years old, something like that, and from 8 to 14, 8 to 16, which is your typical young learners. So we do go over that, absolutely. And Anne says yes to support. Good. Yes, I know you've benefited a lot from the support. How have you found it, Anna? It'd be great to have a comment in the chat there, because I know that you've used it, and I think you're pretty happy as well. So it'd be good to let everyone know what you've used it for, perhaps. Tell them how did you get support and what was it like. And no worries, Fed Lemma, for your text errors. That's absolutely fine. If you are a current student, it is entirely possible, if you're on our previous course, to upgrade to this course. So yeah, that's a good time to answer your question, Yusuf. What's the difference between Highfield and Tiki UK, please? So the way it works, guys, is at the top of the pyramid, we have Ofqual. Now, this is who we're regulated by. This is a British government regulator. It's a non-political British government regulator. Every single course in the UK that's worth its salt is regulated by Ofqual. All my own school qualifications when I was at school, my university degree, they were all ultimately regulated by Ofqual. Under Ofqual, you have accreditational organizations. So these organizations that run they actually create the qualification. They don't deliver it. They're not the ones that are teaching you, but they make sure that everything's correct and in place, and that all of these learning objectives are followed, and there's good standards and lots of things. So we were with Tiki UK, Teaching Qualification UK, and now we've gone with Highfield. So that's what they are. And then we have the organization, which is us, the TEFL Institute, and we deliver the qualification to you guys. So there's a little bit of like, this one goes to this one, goes to this one. But what that means is at the top, there's an extremely rigorous process and quality assurance check that we go through that makes sure that the qualification we deliver at every level is perfect, that it's following the right things, we're providing the right support, that we're delivering it in the right way, that we're assessing you guys in the right way. So you can be sure that not only is this a good qualification, that it's actually a well-respected qualification, and at every level, everything's been done correctly. Okay, is teaching practicum available? So yeah, so with our new course, if you have a look on the website here, you can see we have a 310-hour hybrid available. So that's 10 hours of teacher training where you can learn about lesson planning and have a practice with real lessons in your class. We have our lovely teacher trainer who's going to teach you all about how to plan, how to deliver a lesson, like actual real teaching techniques. It'll be done over Zoom like this. So that is available here. This new course comes under all of these headings here. So the 180, that's just the core course. And then you've got the larger courses you can purchase too. So the 240, that'll be with 2 short courses, and the 300-hour comes with 4 short specialty courses as well. Okay. And I've said, I'm so glad with my courses, and you and teacher Rachel made it interesting and easy for me to complete the module with more interest. Oh, fantastic. Rachel is one of our assessors, and she's the tutor at the TEFL Institute. So if you have an academic problem, you'll definitely be hearing a lot from Rachel. Anam's used the tutor support a lot. I'm not sure if you come to the Tuesdays or not. I don't think so, Anam, but you've had good use on Discord as well. So I think that's been quite a successful strategy for you. Right, guys, that is all from me. I'm more than happy to take questions. If you guys want to write a question, if you have one, you're welcome to. If you want to come and have a chat with me and turn off your camera, turn on your camera and your microphone, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you. We'll take a question. So if you've got a question you want to write, stick it in the chat now. If you'd like to have a face-to-face conversation with me, feel free to open your webcam and your camera and have a chat. Are you guys currently on a course? Are you thinking about a course? Have you done any TEFL courses before? What stage are you at? That would be a good thing to know. Yeah, okay, fair dilemma. There are a lot of courses, and it's very confusing which one to do. It depends on your goal. It depends on your time available. It depends on what you want it for. The level 5 is the top course. It's the best one that we offer, and it's the best one that you can do online without going to university or going to study something in person at an institution. So the level 5 is definitely the hardest one. However, if you've got 2 people and one's got a 120-hour certificate and one's got a level 5 certificate, that employer is going to look much more favorably on the level 5. And not only that, sometimes it's all about the journey and not about only the end result. this course and a level 5 course, and especially our new course, is so comprehensive that it will give you a lot of confidence and knowledge in teaching when you start. When I started teaching, I did a 120-hour course from not a very good company. I won't give them the name. It didn't really give me anything. So when I turned up for my first day of teaching, I was kind of like, I'm a teacher and I didn't really know anything. It's night and day what I learned 10 years ago on my 120-hour course from a company that wasn't amazing, and what we can offer you in this level 5 course. You know, you'll be able to stand in front of students. You're always going to be nervous, but you'll have a knowledge of who they are, why could they possibly be there, how to structure your lesson to deliver it to them, what's going to possibly work, what should you bring with you, what type of materials, how do I use a textbook. I'd never seen a textbook. I didn't see a textbook, an English textbook, until actually 9 months after I started teaching, because in my first job in Thailand, we didn't have textbooks. Half the time we didn't have the internet. So, you know, you are so well equipped by doing this course to begin teaching online or begin teaching face-to-face. There's a lot of courses out there. As a bare minimum, if it's the only course you have, if you're doing it to actually be qualified, you need 120 hours. This is because recruiters, companies, and visa regulations means you need 120 hours of TEFL instruction to be a qualified TEFL teacher. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do short courses because you're interested. That's absolutely fine. But the 120 is the bare minimum that you're going to need there. So usually you've got to look at it like this. Shall I go with a 120-hour base course and maybe add some specialist courses onto that? Or do I go with the level 5 courses and then add some specialist courses onto that if I want to? Depends. Some people do both. Some people start with the 120, test if it's for them, test the difficulty, and then if they finish and want a challenge, then they upgrade to the level 5. Okay, let's have a look. Anand says, I didn't search much about TEFL except the courses and levels because I was in a hurry and enrolled and got all the details step by step. And Discord is amazing. Yeah. Again, you know, there's so much information out there. It can really be, you know, overwhelming at first. Looking at work post-qualification and in relation to online, are there one-to-one sessions available as work versus group situations? Do you mean for work, Fedilema? Do you mean that like when you're teaching, are there one-to-one sessions versus group sessions? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it really depends. So if you want to hear about my experience, I've done probably somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 online hours teaching. I've worked for companies, I've worked for myself as a private tutor, and also large companies. The vast majority of what I've done has been one-to-one. Personally, I much prefer it. 1-to-2 is okay, but I'm not a big fan myself of the 1-to-5, 1-to-6, 1-to-8 classes online because it becomes much harder to interact. However, with young learners, it's better to have more because you can get them to talk to each other. If you get used to Zoom, you can put them in breakout rooms so they can do little activities, a bit like pair work you would do in class. Most companies state what you're there for. So they'll be like, you're an adult teacher, you do groups of 1-to-2 to 1-to-5, or you're a young learner teacher between this age and you do 1-to-1. So you can kind of search that yourself, or when you're doing your interview, that can be a question you bring with you. Who am I going to teach? And a lot of the time people will ask you, well, who do you want to teach? And maybe you don't know. And maybe you want to teach everyone. You know, over the years, my preferred style teaching that whenever I do any private teaching now, it's with adults and usually high-level business or high-level exams, because that's what I like. I like the challenge. Some people I know just like young learners and they just want to do general English for young learners. Some do groups, some do, you know, specialists in engineering English or whatever. But it's rare that you'll kind of have a job that does everything. Usually a company will say, oh, you're an adult teacher, or you're a young learner teacher, or you do 1-to-2 groups. But it depends. If you have a small company online, then maybe you'll do everything because they need a teacher who does everything. If it's a large company, they'll probably put you in a certain field there. Thank you, Anna. Very nice comment there. Yusuf said, I want to know if it's possible for me to do the 310-hour course in just 3 months precisely, not more, if I study full-time 8 hours a day or so, in terms of doing assignments and having it assessed by you onwards until I finally have my certificate. Yeah, so if we separate what is the 310-hour course, Yusuf, it's the 180-hour level 5 at the core, and then 4 30-hour specialist courses. So you can, the 30-hour course is a multiple choice, and they're not marked by us, they're marked by the system. So you can do them really, really fast if you study really, really well. That's not a problem at all. The 10-hour is obviously the teaching practice. So as long as you book yourself on the teaching practice session within that 3-month period, then you'll be done. And the 180-hour, I've seen, well, obviously this is a brand new course. Our previous course, I think the record I've seen it done is about 4 days. I wouldn't recommend it. I don't feel like the learner really read enough. But if you went really, really, really fast, you could do it in a month. You could, but it's not just about how fast could I pass the test. It's about how effectively will I retain that information. Maybe you're a really experienced teacher who just needs a qualification to show it. Then maybe you know a lot, so you're not going to focus so much. But if it's new, I really recommend that the journey of learning the information is the most important thing, and then you'll just pass the exams because you've learned everything so effectively. But yeah, I mean, if you did 8 hours a day, I'd say it's quite a lot. But if you did 8 hours a day in 3 months, I think you shouldn't have a problem doing that at all. Like I said, in terms of our side, our normal marking is 3 working days. So what we're on today is Thursday today. If you submitted work today, you'd have it back by next Tuesday. If you submit work on Monday, you'd have it back by next Thursday. So 3 working days, not including the weekend. Or you can purchase the express marking, which is 1 working day, which means if you submitted your assessment right now, Yusuf, you would get it back tomorrow before the end of the day. And the same for all the assessments you do. So we can do things pretty quick as well. And if you have to do any, you resubmit any work at all, sometimes people, when they're in a little bit of a hurry, they say, hey, Jacob, my deadline's in a week or so, but I finished. Can you guys mark it now? And we say, yep, no problem. We'll get right on it. Alan said, you signed up to the 310 and excited about it. Well done. Welcome aboard, Alan. I'm sure you're going to do really well. Your objective is to teach online. Is there any information on teaching to a specific group? For example, medical staff who want to improve. So this course is about general English. So what you're looking at there, it's kind of going into, we call it ESP, English for Specific Purposes. So we don't go really deep into that in this course. In the adult section, this is part of the motivation learning, that why are they there? And, I did a course, for example, one-to-one course with the learner before, who just wanted to do engineering and aerospace English. So we just looked at his work drawings, work emails, and we were doing like wing terminology, engine terminology. So you can specialize like that. And I'll be honest, when you're a teacher, that's the way you're going to make the big bucks, if you really specialize in something that's quite tricky that you are familiar with. But our course doesn't really go too deeply into it because this is sort of like a general overview of it. But it will definitely give you skills to be able to go and look at that yourself. Absolutely. And as far as advertising yourself as a teacher, again, so we talk about, for example, how you would deliver the lessons and how you kind of use the software and how you can navigate the online experience. There is information about that kind of stuff, but that's more some of the other services we offer. For example, the online specialist course, or we do things like the CV service, or I believe there's a number of webinars that have been done with some of our company staff, such as Kate, about searching for work and how to advertise yourself. So I highly, highly, highly recommend, Alan, you have a look back through our previous webinars, because we've talked in quite some depth about how to go solo, how to work for a company, what your CV should look like, how you can advertise yourself, that kind of stuff. That will really, really help. Third lemma, is work readily available? How long is a piece of string? Yes, there's this teaching online has exploded. since COVID. I mean, I started properly teaching online maybe in 2015, 16, and it was becoming really, really popular then. And sort of around 2017, 2018, it exploded and took off. And then COVID put everyone online. And a lot of people have gone, hey, why am I going down to a language school in, Singapore or Vietnam or Brazil when I can get online and I can speak to a British teacher or an American teacher or an Irish teacher, or have a really good quality French English speaker, because they've gone through this company who's really well accredited, rather than just taking whatever's available in their local village or something like that. So it's really, really popular. You'll find, especially, I've taught a lot of adults, and I've taught a lot of very successful business owners, business CEOs, the C-suite level people, because they don't have time to go to a school. They don't want to go to a school. They want to get back or in their lunchtime and spend their half an hour or 45 minutes having a lesson, quick, efficient, directly for them. So, it's definitely out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, catchy name. Hello, you're hoping to complete your course, 180 course in 8 weeks. Absolutely possible. As long as you put the hours in, you're dedicated, it's absolutely possible. The 180 hours is the recommended time. Some people spend less, some people spend a lot more, but that's that's roughly how long it should take you to get through everything. Okay, Anam, you did the 120 in 2 months. That's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good amount of time, 2 months for the 120, because that's probably not studying full time and you're really taking the information in. So that's a good job. Oh, and we've got a good code in there. Thank you, Katie. So feel free to use the code level up for 10% off the new course. There you go, guys. So you've got information and 10% off the new course if you want to get it. Right, let's take 1 or 2 more questions and then we'll wrap it up here. How big is the online teaching market? What is the average pay for non-experienced and experienced online teachers? Well, the online teacher market's huge. It did take a little bit of a hit in recent times as the Chinese laws have changed. However, what that's done and what that will mean is that a lot more people are creating platforms and companies and online areas to teach. So I keep my finger on the pulse with these things. I keep an eye on the main websites and who's doing what, and even the local websites here in the UK where I live. And there are jobs everywhere. There are jobs absolutely everywhere. And it's definitely possible. As a new teacher, my best advice for you is my own advice is get the best course you can, always. The best course you can with how much you can afford, the best course you can of how much time you have and how much commitment and capacity you have to do something else, because I'm sure you've got other things going on in your lives too. So, i.e. the level 5 course. Get yourself some teaching experience, which means, doing the extra 10-hour course that we have to say. There's a huge difference between somebody's CV who says, I have no teaching experience, or I have some. If you have 10 hours, you have some. If you have 0, you have none. That's the difference there. I wrote to get my first job in Thailand. I said, yes, I've taught lots of people. And I taught some friends maths and one of their parents. I taught his little sister through her GCSEs. It wasn't real teaching, but I'd sat down and taught something to somebody, and that was enough to get my foot in the door. So, give yourself all the tools possible to get a recruiter to say, oh wow, they've done something. They've made steps. There are places online where you can, as well as the 10-hour course we have, that you can volunteer a few hours, 5, 10, 20 hours to have teaching experience. That is invaluable, absolutely invaluable, trust me. What is the average pay for non-experienced and experienced online teachers? I mean, that is such I cannot give you a real answer to that. I can say it can be as low as $2 or $3 an hour, and I would say never ever take those jobs. Not a lot. Some companies used to pay based on location, so be careful of those kind of difficult traps. I would say it depends on where you are. What's your time worth to you? You could find very low paying jobs, and you can find average jobs, and you can find good jobs. I've never had a problem myself because I simply didn't take the jobs that I thought were not representative of my hourly energy that I put into something. So I would say, no matter where you are, no matter if you're native or non-native, if you have a degree, if you don't have a degree, take a job that represents what you feel is a fair representation. I would say most respectful jobs would pay somewhere between 8 and 20 euros an hour. It depends on who you're teaching, how you're teaching. If you teach young learners, you tend to earn slightly more with companies, sometimes because they're in groups. And it's, I tell you what, sometimes as a new teacher, you think, oh, adults are harder because they'll ask harder questions. Well, tell you what, sometimes young learners are harder because the energy it takes to go and motivate them and keep that motivation up, even though the language is not so hard, you'll be putting in a lot of, hey guys, kind of thing. So it completely depends on you. But I would say aim for, this is my personal advice, 8 to 20 euros. Now, I mean, 20 euros will be more like when you're very experienced and qualified. But I would say definitely, I mean, what's the minimum wage in Ireland? I would say not to work for less than that. I certainly wouldn't work for less than that. Okay. It depends on where you are. Maybe you living in a country where 6 euros an hour is pretty good and you're happy with that, then fantastic. But I wouldn't work for less. If you're earning less teaching than you would in your local supermarket, I'd say they're taking advantage of you. On the flip side of that, to be positive, you can do really well from online. You can do really well from teaching lots of classes. You can do really well from teaching across different companies. That's it's really good because sometimes companies have more and less availabilities. It really depends on you. I would say always put your eggs in multiple baskets, never in the same basket. When it comes to teaching online, at the end of the day, if you want to be a successful online teacher, you should specialize. And this takes years, but you should specialize in something. Specialize in young learners, specialize in, like was it Alan said about medical English. If you start to specialize in a certain area and you become very good at it, do you know how much a doctor, an Italian doctor or a Serbian doctor would pay to learn English well from a good teacher who knows the vocabulary? You could start charging 50, 80, 100 even euros an hour, yeah, for the right English from the right person on the niche market that you're going to have. Again, I believe we have webinars and information and blogs about going solo and things like that as well. So that's something to look forward to in the future. I would say there's enough work out there that you guys don't have to work for really, really cheap. And you don't have to stay with the company. If they're not very good and you're not really enjoying it and the material's rubbish, move to another company. Think about putting yourself individually online, advertising yourself to friends and family and putting that web out of like, who can I teach? Does anyone know anyone? I have one student at the moment because I'm very busy with the TEFL Institute. I have one, and this came from a recommendation that came from a recommendation that came from a recommendation. So that's how it works eventually. Okay, guys, I think we're going to leave it there. I'm really, really pleased for you all to come today. Thank you so much. I hope that I see you again. I see some familiar names who are already on courses with us here. I'm really hoping to see some of you guys on the course. If you do come on the course, get on the Discord. Don't hesitate to get in touch. Get in touch with Tutor Support. Make yourself known. And we're there to help you guys out. Okay, if you've got any questions following this today, email hello@tefl.ie or get on live chat or call in the office, and the girls there would be more than happy to have a chat with you. So thanks to everyone. You have a lovely evening wherever you are, and yeah, take care. See you on the course soon. Bye, guys.